Hi, I'm Nick Penna, a senior QA engineer at Grindr, and I want to discuss a process we use in order to increase traceability and simplify the organization of our test cases and results, especially for automation. Currently, we have over 90% of the test cases that are run for client releases automated. We can use our automation during feature development as well to find any regressions more quickly. Let's go through an example of running our automation tests. This will be an example for the Android client. Right now we are looking at the tool we use for executing our client automation scripts. Let's say I'm interested in testing the functionality of our cascade to find out if it is still working correctly. The cascade is the main screen you see on Grindr. I can quickly choose my options and then select to run the 24 automated test cases that have to do with cascade functionality. These test cases will run in the cloud, and through the magic of the internet, we'll jump forward in time to see the results. Here we see the results from our 24 test cases as shown. This example that I just ran is showing 23 passing and 1 failing test case. I happen to know that the failing test was expected when run against the QA environment that I used. So if needed, I can either run this test against a different environment or I can test this manually to ensure it passes, which I have, so I'll mark it as passing. We use TestRail as our test case repository. It holds all of our test plans, test cases, and test results. Having a single source for all our test cases and test results is extremely helpful because we can get a quicker and less confusing view of our testing status and coverage. So how do we achieve this and keep everything organized? When we start the QA process on a new feature, test cases are written against a user story. There are many fields to be filled out when creating test cases, but I want to highlight 3 of the fields that we use. References. We link the created test cases to the requirements using this field. This way, any test case can be traced back to the original requirement in order to know why the test case was made. Automation. When creating a test case, we evaluate if the test case is a candidate for automation. If a test case can be automated, which most can be, we mark the test case as an automation candidate. Both manual and automated test cases are in the same repo, which allows us to have a holistic look at all our test cases and current coverage. All test cases can easily be searched and show in the same test plans. Script path. Any test case that is an automation candidate will likely be automated. When the automation is complete, the test case script is directly entered in the test case in this field, and the automation field is then set to automated. These fields allow the automation framework to get and then parse for all test cases marked as automated. It also allows reporting of all automated test case results back into TestRail with a one-to-one mapping for every test case that was run. You saw an example of this when I actually did the automations, when I ran the automation scripts. Here you can see some TestRail APIs that are allowing us to do that. We have a get cases endpoint where we can see what the IDs are, if they're automated or not, what the fields are, and all the test cases. We can also add results using the add results for test cases API. We can put if it's failed or passed or any details we want. This way there is no mystery about what an automated test case is doing because there are no automated test cases running that aren't documented and reported directly into TestRail. In fact, we can just run this test case manually if we want because we have the test script path in the test case. So let's go ahead and run this simple test script we have here, and you can, besides some little setup the automation does at the beginning, you can see it follows the steps in the test case, and we'll find out what the results are. This process allows TestRail to be a single source for test cases without going into multiple tools or having to look into our automation repositories at all. We know where the requirements for the test case came from, and we have a history of all its test results. I can use TestRail's search function to answer any questions I have about my current test coverage status, confident that all automated and manual tests will be accounted for in those searches. Oh, and you can see this sample script that I ran has passed. Thanks. Hope this short explanation of one of our processes at Grindr was helpful. You can reach me at nick.penna@grindr.com if you have any questions.